Okay, so listen to how crazy this is. Juan's grandma and my grandma in New York City went to the same church. So they were Pentecostal.
Is he from Queens?
So they're from Manhattan.
Okay.
My dad's family's from Manhattan. My mom is straight Buffalo girl. So
Well, no, I remember that. I remember him telling me about New York City when we were in middle school.
Yeah.
So it's funny because when I think of Juan, I think of New York City.
Yeah.
Because that was when I met him. I remember him telling me about. He's like, yo, in Queens, the houses are closer together, and in Manhattan, it's like this, and I'm like learning all the stuff about the city.
Yeah.
Because I've never been to the city. I'm from here.
Uh-huh.
So that's funny because you mentioned that. Because when I think of Juan, I think of New York City right away.
So his grandma and my grandma prayed together in church, and they were actually activists in the Pentecostal church. My grandma actually went to the I Have a Dream speech. My dad was there when Martin Luther King was talking.
Wow.
But one of the places...
That's crazy.
I know, it was nuts. One of the places where they organized and they found a lot of power was in church. So Juan's daughters are there and my son is there. And to me, it really is crazy that 4 generations later, we're still celebrating God together and kind of part of the same Christian family. And that was why I chose to go to Juan's church, because I was like, this is crazy. If my son and Juan's daughters can pray together just like my grandma and his grandma did, that means something. And I guess maybe it's just because I'm from Buffalo, but I think that's that community.
It's like the act of God right there.
Yeah, that's that community. So it's really fun.
So that brings me... It's like destiny if you think about it. Like it's like a weird thing that you even if you try to plan your life a certain way, you get brought into things that you never expected, right?
Yeah.
My best friend's a Muslim.
Okay.
One of my best friends, Ali. He's from Lebanon. He's probably watching. What's up, dude?
What's up, Ali?
And so me and him engage all the time. We talk about. I'll tell him what I know about the Bible and Christianity and Judaism, and he tells me what he knows about the Quran, and we converse. We debate, and it's not about trying to convert each other or anything like that. I remember, by the way, I hate talking about the same type of Christians that I was talking about before and bashing them, but I just real quick, I remember one of them telling me, you shouldn't talk to those people. They're going to try to suck you in. It's like, dude.
Wow, really?
Anyway, make a long story short, Ali, one of the things he taught me was this word. It's called a mektub.
Okay.
It's an Arabic word. It means it was written or destiny. And the concept behind the word mektub is everything. Let's say you believe in the Big Bang, right? Mm-hmm. Everything that happened in the universe from then until now is a result of God's will.
Right.
So that you have your choice. You have your choice to you have your free will. You can operate within a certain plane, but His word, His destiny is law. Yeah. Like He controls the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yes.
So under the theory of Mektub is your destiny is predestined chosen. Mm-hmm. So you have the choice to either accept it and follow the will, or reject it and go. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I like that concept. I think about that all the time. Like, do we really have because I mean everything is cause and effect. Mm-hmm. This is not where you're getting philosophical. Everything really is cause and effect. Like you do something based up. Like you wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is you brush your teeth, take a shower, and it's like. Just reason, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, and then your whole life is just doing the next thing because of the cause, and acting on the effect. And it's like that is, if you think about it, that is a really deep philosophical concept.
Yeah, I think God does anoint people's paths.
Yeah,
and I think for some people, finding what their strength is and finding what their gift is really the key to happiness. And then if you, like you said, if you can align that with your faith, you're like me, you're one of the luckiest people in the world. And I think a lot of great pain in the world is caused by people who can't identify their gift, or maybe can't identify their path,
True.
And their energy isn't focused. So for me, I really have thought the conversation we were having before we got on the air, the responsibility that I have, right? How I serve as an ambassador for the Puerto Rican community and for Latinas and for women, that's a lot of responsibility. But I decided one day, I was like, God knows what He's doing. And we say at church all the time, it's not your time, it's God's time. So I just said to myself, He knows what He's doing. He wouldn't put anything in front of me that He doesn't think that I have the capacity to do or to deal with.
Yep.
I have that faith.
This is something I thought about a lot. People always wonder, if God's real, why is there evil? Why do people die? It's a good question, but if you actually think about it, it's simple.
Right.
It's contrast.
Okay.
Without the bad, without the hardships in life,
okay.
what do you compare the good to?
Right.
You wouldn't know what good is. There wouldn't be anything. It wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have the, like, I'll give you an example. My own life. Getting out of jail. Getting out of prison after 18 months.
I'm so proud of you, yeah.
Do you know what that feels like?
No.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine people doing more time than me. People who did 10 years.
Or people who are innocent.
People are innocent.
They just let a Latina out
That's
who
true.
was in there for like 27 years. And they knew deep in their heart they were innocent.
That's a fact. That's
crazy.
That's a reality that actually happens. But the point I'm getting at is the feeling you get from having the contrast of being locked up,
okay, and
then getting out and having freedom.
Yeah,
it gives you a perspective on life. Like, the world is beautiful. I can do whatever I want. Most people don't even understand. Like, their situation could be 10 times worse than it is.
Right.
Like, you gotta have that perspective. Like, you gotta imagine, do I really have it that bad? There's people who have it way worse, no matter who you are.
Right.
There's always a worse situation that you can be in. So that's why there's evil. That's why there is bad. That's why people die. That's why people get sick. Because of like, without it, it's a necessary thing. I don't like it. I don't think there should be more people getting sick and dying. But it's like, you have to realize it's reality.
Right.
And that's what gives you perspective on understanding of what it is to be like, to see the beauty in life, see the good things, and to like have that, like I said, the contrast. Without bad, there's no good. Right. It's just, we're just robots. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have that hardships in life to get a perspective, to really give you like that joy and that satisfaction of being a human being, being blessed to just be alive.
Absolutely. And that's why when I went to go work for the New York State Senate, I worked, for Senator Grisani, and they asked me, they're like, what do you want to work on? And I was like, I want to work on human trafficking. And they were like, what? Right? And then for me,
it's a deep thing right there.
Well, because for me, I knew that a lot of the experiences that I went through, some girls, they didn't do as well, and that's how they ended up being trafficked. So I checked myself. I said, I'm in a position of privilege. I can talk about whatever I want to talk about and have this powerful man help me advocate for different communities. So, I'm 19 years old talking about people being sold in our country, and people are like, why did you pick that? And I was like, it's my privilege. It's my responsibility. But also that came from my faith, Neil, of saying that God teaches you to speak for the voiceless. God says to you, what position are you in where you can help those who are most vulnerable? And like every night before I go to sleep, because I just bought a house.
Good for you.
I know, crazy. So every night before I go to sleep, like I pray for homeless moms. You know what I mean? Because you got to think about
you actually caught me when we were about to eat. You're like, let's pray. I'm about to start digging in right away, like I always do. Hold on, stop. Let's pray real quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I've tried to teach that to my son too, and I think that provides you a lot of perspective. But I want to give you a lot of credit because I think that you turned that experience into a positive.
Yeah.
And that really talks about the strength of your person.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of you for that. And I'm super excited to be here and to be in conversation with you because you've created this moment, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. What is your future look like? What are you gonna do now? Do you want to
good question?
Because I mean, there's some, there's rumors on what could be going on.
What do I want to do? Right now, I want to become a better mom, and I know I was talking to you about that. I want to become a better mom. That's always going to be my first response, right? I want to become a better Christian.
I'm sure you're a great mom.
Everybody has room for improvement, right?
That's true.
That's true. I want to become a better Christian, and then also I want to become a more practiced advocate, and I've advocated for people in a million ways. So there's some people who have an idea of what that should look like for me. And I know I've talked to you about that privately, but I can say that, I'm getting more used to being out in the open and talking for my community. So hopefully public service is going to be in my future like it is now. And, as a young person, as a young professional, I think about what's the most relevant way for me to engage in the political process. So future episodes for that. Nice, but right now, I think Leave also, right.
I got you.
Like my Facebook. Yeah. But right now, I think also I want to become better at carrying my message. And that's what I think writing is about too, is about like finding my narrative, being able to say, what are the things that are important to me, my values. Yep. And it's not a shock to me that I'm on my third edition. I'm already talking about God, right? Yeah. I've only written 2 other times.
That's who you are, though.
That's what I realized. You know what I mean? And that's why I was excited to come here and talk to you about it today.
And that's one thing about, faith in general is there's not, it's not right wing or left wing. It's just that's the one thing that can unite people.
It really can.
You know,
it can bring people from all over the world. I think one of the things that I think has been one of the things that I think is most intimate is watching people pray. You know, and in the West Side there are a lot of Muslims that pray, and you know they need their space.
Yeah.
And you know, I've seen them pray in the back of classrooms, wherever, and I'm like, what a selfless thing to stop anywhere and to pray.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And I think Christians, we're sometimes shy to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a church behind City Hall. It's the oldest like Italian Sicilian church. It's called St. Francis, I think. Gotta check that one for me.
Yeah. It's all right.
But I stopped in front of it the other day and I just prayed. And someone said to me, do you know how many people do that? And I'm like, I've never seen anyone do that. But I think for me, watching other people of other faiths pray and just pray out loud and pray in all spaces made me feel a lot more comfortable to like pray too. So, I mean, we started our meal with a prayer. Hopefully we'll end this with a prayer. And like, you know, it'll just all be positive energy.
Yeah. Amen.